one note, Charles, about her being fashionably early. Her thing was not only to be fashionably early, but to be the first one to leave. That was her trick. Yeah. You know, when I first met Anne 23 years ago, which makes me one of the youngest people here to know her, I didn't know her much at all at first, and as I started to get to know her, I was amazed at her accomplishments and who she was and what she had done, and I kind of thought to myself, what is she doing to me? I mean, she's just an amazing person, and you know, I like myself, but I just didn't feel like, you know, perhaps I was like in her league. And as time went on and saw more and more about what she had accomplished, I was convinced that I was somewhat out of her league. But sitting here today and listening to everybody, now I know I am. I know I've never been in her league, but I was really fortunate that she showed me the kindness and love that and respect that had endured for this 23 years. We went through a number of ins and outs with our relationship, but we were always really committed to being with one another because of our families and our friends, and because our love for the projects that we do and the things that we appreciate. So anyway, I just wanted to say that right off the bat. So yeah, 23 years ago I met Anne. She was the most wonderful woman with whom I was fortunate to be in an amazing relationship. At that time, Anne and I were both just kids in our early 50s and ready to begin a journey together based in our desire to love one another and to share our lives as fully as possible. What ultimately made that possible was that our family and friends and all of you together helped to support that friendship. Anne and I shared a strong passion for design and architecture, and that was a thread that ran throughout our partnership. From the very beginning, we bought a building with a flat upstairs and a commercial space below. We gutted the building and embarked on a completely new design. Once construction was completed, Anne went to work doing what she loves to do, interior decorating. Anne always referred to herself as a big picture kind of gal, which mostly meant that she has the grand ideas, now let others do the work. Or, as she would occasionally say, let the help, which was a humorous line that she claimed was from her dear friend Bill Britton. Of course, Anne's passion for design and construction projects is legendary. It's quite a fascinating portfolio of extraordinary homes and commercial buildings that she undertook, some by herself, others with Laney. What she and Laney created together is truly magnificent. But what was most dear to Anne, I believe, is her quaint country home in Sonoma on Carriger Road. That was her refuge. It was also the home of her large and lovely rose garden, which gave her so much joy over the years. And because her garden was so large and that her homes were usually overflowing with roses, many of us frequently received these wonderful flowers. And Carriger is where she really enjoyed entertaining with family and friends that provided such a beautiful and expansive setting for intimate and large gatherings, which she worked so diligently to create. And that is the spirit of Anne Thornton, a person who was always prepared and looking forward to engaging with others, whether it be for a social event, a project, or just to give advice. She was willing to share her time, energy, and resources with others. Her selfless work to help administer high-quality service for both local schools and a hospital and the museum can probably be attributed to being and raised in a family where her father, whom she idolized, was a priest. And she had a talent for putting together what she referred to as her team. She is an excellent judge of character and had a knack for seeing in others what talents were being underutilized. There are many, but I know of three that are here with us today. Dennis Cordone from Antigua, a good friend and an immense help and resource to Anne and her daughters since she purchased her first property in Antigua. Nancy Estes was Anne's Sonoma County country store manager and dear friend, who went on to become her bookkeeper, and at times, when Anne's memory was failing her in recent years, prevented Anne from making poor financial decisions. And then there's Nacho Larios, someone that Anne loved dearly and appreciated very much. Nacho worked for Anne for 24 years, taking care of her homes and gardens. Early on, Anne suggested that I hire Nacho to work with me in construction because she no longer needed him full-time at her Divisadero Victorian home. So for the past 23 years, he has worked with me 40 hours a week, and then in the evenings and early mornings, he takes care of her Divisadero home and garden. Because he lives in her home Monday through Friday, he was a tremendous support for Anne, who was living alone, especially when her health began to fail over these past few years. Anne and I spent Thanksgiving at my son's home with his wife and my grandsons and other family members. We left San Francisco at 3 p.m. and did not return to her home until 10 p.m. Anne has always been very close with my family, and as we have shared many wonderful times together, Anne was in great spirits that evening, and I even thought that perhaps her health was starting to improve. For Anne to be out socializing for 7 hours and not be in bed by 8 p.m. and not display any signs of fatigue was really surprising. So, in closing, I want to thank the Thornton family for being so kind to me for all these years. It's wonderful to see that the true spirit and essence of Anne lives on in her children and grandchildren. Thank you.